What's up, Blake, you gagonus?
Oh,
You freaking
okie dokie. What's
weird-
going on, my guy, Josh guy?
nice chaqueta. You're giving me some Aztec vibes over there.
Feeling like,
You kind of look like,
give me some Aztec vibes? Is it
yeah.
maybe it's the Aztecian writing? Feeling like Donald Cerrone's corner man. Feeling like somebody would be a ranch hand for Donald Cerrone or Jared Allen.
Jared Allen. That's
Yeah.
nice. Where's your
Gerard
cowboy?
Alon.
Where's your cowboy hat?
My cowboy hat, see, I'm like a cowboy, but I'm not. So
you're
like, I was
like
like, I want to go cowboy with the Henley with no hat because my hair is too beautiful to hide this luscious mane.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Cool.
saying?
I interviewed Derek Minner in this jacket.
Yes, you did.
So.
I interviewed Gerard Alon in this.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't. That's a lie.
Oh, it's soon.
We don't do a lot of lying on this show, but when we do, we make sure it is a grandiose over-exaggeration.
You're prefacing. You know, you're seeing into the future, buddy.
Doing my best over here.
So you know what, Blake?
What, Josh? Speak with some bass in your voice, boy.
You know, UFC 259, biggest card of the year, maybe the best card of the year
Boy,
so
was
far. Let me ask you, Blake. Out of all the storylines that we got so many storylines out of UFC 259. Which one is what is the most important storyline for you? Is it, and I'll give you some options.
Okay.
Is it the Yan Sterling illegal stoppage? Is it Megan Anderson, maybe no longer being in the UFC or just, her fight contract's up? Is it Izzy and how he moved up, weight in and under? Is it Jan Blachowicz? Is he really that good? Is it John Jones and Izzy? Never going to happen again. What's the biggest takeaway? And everyone on the prelims got bonuses. No one on the main card, but I wasn't disappointed at all.
It's funny. I've mentioned before, I started watching the fights at 4:15 Central Time and didn't get done watching the fights until 12:30 that night. It was a long day.
It's a great day.
Anybody who didn't get a chance to see the early prelims or the prelims, they missed some great fights.
Oh, it's the
There
best.
was a ton of good matches back to back to back. So if you guys didn't get to see that, I'm sorry you missed out. See if you can go back and find those. But really, the undercards were fantastic. As far as storyline goes,
even the undercard, Tim Elliot calling Espinosa a woman beater right to his face.
yeah, and then going out and beating the ever-living dog crap out of his guy, man. That was just a rag dog. Tim Elliott looked good.
Kyler Phillips beating Song Yadong. That was a
good
big
fight.
win.
That was
win.
a good fight too. I mean, I think it was a little closer than people thought.
Or my guy Tom Brady.
Oh,
I'm calling him that from now on.
Sean
Tom Brady.
Sean Brady. He might have been the most complete and impressive and all-around well-rounded fighter of the undercard that I saw. He is going to be deadly. Watch that. I didn't know much about him. I know you talked about him before.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, he looked very complete. Not complete in the sense of skill and never learning, but he was the most well-rounded fighter I saw in that fight. He didn't look to have many flaws coming in, and he executed a perfect and almost flawless match.
Yeah, its ground game's great. Stand-up, I think, could use a little bit of work, but
yeah.
I mean, it's pretty good itself, so he's pretty well-rounded. 14-0, he doubles up the other Brady on wins, and he's 14-0, Tom Brady. That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
As far as best walk away,
biggest
takeaway, it has to be, and you didn't even say this, which I think is hilarious. It's a tie between a toss-up of Petr Yan. They kept calling him Petr the whole night.
I can't do it.
I'm like, where is the coming from? Where's the coming? Where's that? Is that how he says his name?
If you're gonna say it, just go all in.
Is that how he says his name?
I don't know.
It's
I freaking hope not.
Anyway, was the fact that for the first time ever in UFC history, a championship belt was lost and forfeited due to a disqualification due to an illegal move.
Ground opponent.
He paid, for those who didn't see it, obviously for those who did, Petr Yan.
They saw it.
Illegal knee to the head of downed Aljamain Sterling. It was as blatant could be. I mean, there was no, gray area. No, dude, it was so illegal.
All over Twitter.
It was so illegal it wasn't even funny. And when I showed my parents the replay, when I was watching it, they thought that the fight had been stopped. because of the way it looked, and it looked so blatantly illegal. They thought that they didn't get the full context of what was going on. They thought the fight was stopped and then he kneed him. No. That wasn't real time. He was clearly down. And for Petr to use the excuse that, oh, my cornerman gave me the okay to hit him. Okay, if that's the case,
You're a sell-out.
First off, fire whoever cornerman you had in that corner because he doesn't know the damn rules, okay? Second off, you're the champion of that division. You hold the belt, which means you better know every single rule inside and out. I don't believe for 1 second that you didn't know that you couldn't do that. That's like the Dave Chappelle skit. Sorry, officer, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Ignorance does not put you above the law. Okay, just because you're ignorant of the rules, I'm sorry. Maybe that just shows you aren't the champion. You're not complete. You don't know how the game is supposed to be operated and performed in within the parameters set by the rules. So, to me, the excuse was absolutely garbage. That being said, I don't like the way Aljamain Sterling acted post fight. In the ring, he clearly was upset. He was clearly distraught. Could he have continued? I'm not really sure. It looked like he was truly having issues getting back up to his feet. Maybe he's a great actor. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I wasn't there to give him the examination. But if you're going to make such a big deal about this isn't the way I wanted to win it, and then you're going to take the belt off and throw it in the ring and everything, okay, I get that. You didn't win the belt the way you wanted to. Most people would have reacted the same way. Hey, I want to go out and earn it. Let's run this fight back. But then for you to immediately say all that, and then afterwards call out somebody, and I don't even have my internet's not working, so I can't even pull anything up. He ends up calling out Cejudo after the fight
like
to face off. Well, that's weird because you just said you wanted to run the Petr Yan fight back, and then you go out, flaunting with the belt, doing this and this and that. You talked a big game, but you're not really backing it up now. And I have a couple, obviously, could it have been a financial situation? Could he have said, hey, I can take this, I can go down and not finish the fight, kind of take the coward's way out, but it's not really cowardice because it was a blatant illegal knee.
Yeah,
I think there's very many arguments to be made each side of why you could give him the win and why he could have continued.
It shouldn't have been his choice.
Shouldn't have been his choice.
I like what Anthony Smith said. Because it happened to him and John Jones.
Yeah.
In their fight, he said, even if I was knocked out, I would have got up and kept fighting just because that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I think Aljamain probably did know that I think he knew he would get the belt. I don't think he knew it was going to be a no contest like he said he thought it was going to be.
I think he knew he'd get the belt.
But
he also knew he also was going to get paid for becoming champion.
Yeah, he gets that money. So, Aljamain deserves it because he's been in the game so long. He's not a journeyman, but he's finally made it to the point where of champion, and the only thing that matters is they're going to run it back. And so that's all I really care about. That's going to happen.
Are they? Because here's
100%.
the deal. And this is what Chael Sonnen said that actually
they have to. There's no way they're not running it back.
No. It's not that they don't run it back, but do they get to run it back right away?
Yes.
And this is why at first I was like, hell yeah, you have to run that back right away. But this was so TJ Dillashaw got in trouble for PEDs.
Oh yeah,
and he fought in the championship, and he ended up losing because he failed the test for PEDs, correct?
Yeah, he got suspended for 2 years.
Got suspended. Now, he cheated, and he got caught. He didn't get to immediately run back his title fight, did he?
Yeah, well, he cheated. He cheated.
But he cheated.
Aljo didn't cheat.
No, Aljo didn't cheat. Petr did. Petr cheated. Yeah, he did. He did something that was illegal, and he got disqualified for it.
It's not enhancing, performance enhancing. It's like
doesn't matter. The rule is,
coach.
Did you cheat? And this is what Chael Sonnen had laid out, and it made me think. Why does one person?
It's one of those things.
Why does one person get to cheat and immediately have their title run back, and another person get to cheat
he was winning.
and then pay his dues for cheating and still not get to run it back? I don't think it matters if you're winning or not. Who cares about that? Because at the end of the day, you're a cheater. You cheated.
Well,
and I get it. Optics, they cheated different ways.
It doesn't that's all.
But he didn't get to do it at first.
He's gonna fight Sanhagen. If he beats Sanhagen, he's gonna get
the
title shot.
I guess
so
what
it's one fight.
What Chael basically pointed out was you cheated. You don't just get to run it back because you were winning. If you were losing, everybody would say, no, hell no, you don't get to. But he was winning, which throws everybody's perspective off. But should it? Because either way, he cheated. Regardless of how you cheated, it's that you cheated.
Yeah, I mean, and
So if that's the case, I'm like, okay, I get it. Maybe you don't get to run it back right away. Maybe you, and especially for the excuse that you used, maybe we give you another 2 fights to make sure you actually know the rules of this contest.
no, because I mean, in my eyes, and I think in a lot of UFC fans' eyes, Peter's still the champ. He's still the champ.
I think so.
And
It's funny if you look at the
even Aljo thinks that too.
If you look at the strikes in the contest, Aljo won the first round. Aljo outstruck him most of that fight. Now you could argue as to were those strikes really significant? Were they actually doing much damage, or were they just getting peppered? I would say they're peppered, but really, if you looked at the numbers of the fight, Aljamain was winning as far as full on strikes.
Yeah, Petr was pulling away.
Damage wise, Petr was clearly winning towards the last 2 rounds.
Pulling away.
Yeah,
he's pulling away. So,
but he had surmounted a huge lead that first. I guess because of the way MMA scoring is, you didn't really surmount a huge lead. You just won 1 round.
It was a great fight. So I think it makes sense that they run it back. And I agree with this statement that Helwani said. He said Aljamain versus Cejudo will not be as big as the rematch of Aljo versus Yan.
Also, I think
Aljo and Yan is bigger. Aljo and Yan 2 is going to be bigger than Aljo and Cejudo.
Yes.
100%.
No, and I agree.
100%.
I agree with that 100%. So I would say that's the biggest takeaway. The second biggest takeaway is the actual tie. That was to me the biggest takeaway. That we had the first ever belt loss due to disqualification due to an illegal knee. Second is Israel Adesanya gained his first loss, but you can't acknowledge Izzy losing without acknowledging that Jan Blachowicz is a bad man.
Jan Blachowicz.
Jan fought that octagon, and he freaking put on what I would consider a spectacular performance for somebody who probably had the most. I would say Jan had the most to lose. I know everybody wants to say Izzy, but really, if you look at what he was doing, he was going up against an opponent who on fight night probably outweighed him by 35 to 40 pounds. I guarantee Jan in that ring, Jan probably weighed 225, maybe 230.
It's probably like a 20, 15 pound difference.
He was more than 205 in that ring.
Izzy, it was probably like
Izzy was probably 2.
Yeah, that's what he weighed in at. So he had to be maybe a little bit more, but maybe a little less. I don't know. That fight wasn't really what we thought it was going to be.
No, wasn't the knockout power, huge strikes that we thought. It was way more technical.
And it was unanimous for Jan, and then also like the judges was another storyline or takeaway. So, I mean, they just kind of started the year off with these storylines and how it's going to go the rest of the year. This card will be talked about for a really long time. That's why we're talking about it, a week later.
Well, the fact that they scored it 4-1, Jan, no. I had it 2-2 going into the last round.
Me too. I think that's what
I
think everyone did.
So when they're throwing out, and Dana White mentioned it, they're throwing out 10-8 rounds like it's freaking. Like it's bedtime and everybody's getting cookies and milk. This is ridiculous, bro. If you are getting an 8-10 round, you got your ass slapped, dick dug in the dirt.
That's
I didn't see a single round where I just was, oh my God. Besides the last 2, and even that, based on scoring, I wouldn't have given Izzy the last 2 rounds where he got taken down, and basically his ground game was just null and void because, 1, he doesn't really have that high end of ground game, and 2, you're not bench pressing a guy who's 45 pounds, 40 pounds heavier than you on the norm.
Jan got him down, and he did absolutely 0 damage when
Zero.
he took him down.
I mean, he landed a couple punches, but nothing significant.
No,
he really just said, hey, I'm going to smother you, which is the smart tactical way to take that.
Positional control, yeah. I mean, it was.
He said, I'm going to get my points, and I'm going to make sure you don't get up so you can't hurt me, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to stay the champ.
I tried to convince myself that it was 3-1 Izzy going into the 5th round. I knew it wasn't because I watched the fight, so I was like, it's probably 2-2. It's probably 2-2. Likely is 2-2. And then Izzy was winning the first half of the 5th round on the feet, and then once he got taken down, I was like, okay, the right thing to do here is just is to pick Jan. I mean, Izzy fought, and he had great, not excuses, but just words after the fight of trying, to be the champion. But
if you didn't like Israel Adesanya, because I've told you this before, I love Izzy's fighting style. Wasn't always a huge fan of his personality, the interview with Ariel Helwani right before the fight actually made me like Izzy even more. The way he lost after the fight was the best grace you could lose with as a champion. I mean, he lost with amazing grace. He didn't take anything away from Yan. Amazing.
He had amazing grace.
He had amazing grace. Lost. I mean, he had nothing but good things to say about Yan. He goes, that guy's the champ, man. He deserved it. He had a better game plan.
He's got a dead man's freaking thing on his wrist.
He just
noose.
He dismantled him, and it sucks because it does put a link. It does put a chink in the chain for the fight that we thought was going to happen afterwards with John Bones Jones. But I think if you watch,
it was just
that fight, you realize you realize now Izzy versus John probably would have the same, if not an even worse outcome on John Bones' part.
If it did happen, it should have happened last weekend.
Yeah, it should have already happened.
That's what there's. But that leads us into the future because
now Izzy's going to go back down to 185.
Jan's going to fight Glover.
He's probably going to fight Till.
Let him enjoy his octagon success for, just a little bit.
Glover Teixeira will fight next for the 205.
You didn't do much damage. You didn't take much damage from Izzy. You didn't do much damage either, but, I
say they try to run that quick.
You did well. My guy.
Yeah.
My guy, Yan. And then, Izzy's got some stuff to figure out. I don't love the Darren Till fight, right? If he beats Vettori. I like Vettori fighting. If Vettori wins, I like him kind of fighting
Is it because of Till's stack of losses, or
it's because I don't like him hurdling Whitaker. I like him hurdling.
We've already seen the Whitaker fight, though.
He can hurdle Costa. That's fine. We've seen them both. I mean, it's kind of a theme in divisions these days. We've already seen it, but the rematch, UFC's built on like rematches 2 and 3. So true. I love it. I love every rematch. I mean, even the Costa fight, that's probably my least favorite, but Marvin Vettori's a rematch, and he lost split decision to Izzy Adesanya in middleweight. So if he wins, I think I like him.
And I was very impressed with Vettori's last fight. Mm-hmm. I mean, very impressed.
I like him maybe hurdling Costa and Whitaker. If he beats Till, if Till wins, I don't even, and he fought Whitaker too, but that was a really close fight. And then you've got Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson, the 20th, which is in a couple weeks. That is not, I don't think there's title implications in that unless you're Kevin Holland. Because Adesanya stomped Derek Brunson. Whitaker stomped Derek Brunson.
So you think Vettori can hurdle Whitaker, but you don't think Till can hurdle Whitaker, and you think that they both can hurdle Costa. So really, it just comes down to who can hurdle Whitaker.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Rob deserves it so much. I love Rob. He's an amazing fighter. Fantastic, like one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, Robert Whitaker. He's always sounded like a champion. Every time he talks on the microphone, you're like, this guy just sounds like a champion, and he is. So I like him until maybe running it back. It's messed up of me because Rob is overdue for a title shot, even though he lost it in devastating fashion. But I like Vettori hurdling.
He pieced him up.
Both. But what if Costa wins? Then what?
Versus Whitaker?
Yeah.
Then I think you better keep him away from the wine, first of all. Probably the second worst excuse I've ever heard. The worst excuse was his excuse. Now the first worst excuse is obviously Petr Yan's excuse. I'm sorry, you have to know the rules. Costa's is just stupid. Petter's is inexcusable.
He's valid.
It's inexcusable. Unacceptable conditions!
Dude, I fucking love lemon grab. I fucking love lemon grab.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, the Paulo Costa-Whitaker fight is going to be awesome. I think Costa's going to be out for revenge. I think he's got something to prove, because if he loses to Whitaker, his stock is kind of tanking left and right, because he's just lost. It depends on how he loses to Whitaker, but if he can't beat Izzy, which he got embarrassed by, it wasn't even close, and he can't beat Whitaker, then you're looking at, like, okay, I think your stock is dropping.
I mean, because Vettori could probably take down Izzy. Rob, I don't know, Costa probably should have taken down Izzy, but the Rob and Costa fight is just Yoel Romero versus Rob all over again. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same fight. So it leads us into the future. 259.
259 259 leads us into the future of what's going to happen in the lightweight division.
Light heavyweight
division, the middleweight division. Obviously we're super excited about what's brewing over there in the heavyweight division.
Tom Brady.
Right now, man. Right now. Dude, yeah, obviously Stipe and Ngannou are about to run this bad boy, but dude, Derek Lewis.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
We'll cover all that, especially. But just, dude, that division is heating up, and I love it. Obviously, we got to celebrate. It was National Women's Month Day, whatever it was the other day, and the UFC put out an amazing, just a really cool, amazing post as far as celebrating all the women that have kind of pioneered the way in mixed martial arts and UFC. You got to throw back to Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, Holly Holm, Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang, Amanda Nunes, of course, Lioness herself. Just anybody who's really been, Michelle Watterson, of course, the karate hottie. It was a really cool video that they got to put out the other day. So if you haven't seen it, go out and check it on UFC, Instagram or online. It was just, it was really cool to see. And I even sent it to you, and I put a tweet out that basically was saying, if women are ever looking for role models in the world, there's no better place to look than the UFC. I mean, there's some strong, tough, independent women in that bad boy that not only pioneered the way for their sport and their careers, but also have done it dealing with a litany of issues from just self-doubt, abuse from being younger, being a mom, like having children, like so many different issues. So that was really cool to see the UFC kind of prop those women up, because in my mind, those are the most badass women on the planet.
Yeah, even though Megan lost, she's a great advocate for all that stuff.
Especially, she's a great advocate not only for the sport, she's a great advocate for mental health as well, and that plays a big part in coming in that same vein of overcoming adversity and being strong and tough.
And then for her, she ended her UFC contract. 6 fights, and she did all 6. It's not meaning she won't necessarily not re-sign with the UFC, but she is, exploring her options. Yeah. So that's the Megan.
And honestly,
Anderson.
right now,
that's the T.
If I was Megan, I would definitely take a hard look at Bellator. Just as far as, because of the division you want doesn't look like it's going to exist in the UFC. I'm not really sure what the Bellator standings are, or if they even have something like that.
They've said, she was supposed to fight Chris Cyborg in the UFC. She was training for it for a long time, and then it ended up being Amanda Nunes. But they think they're similar, what they're training, for. So I think she could go to Bellator and get an instant title shot versus Chris Cyborg.
I think so too. If anything, it'd be like a one-step. It'd be a one-fight stepping stone. They give her a fight, see how she does. If she dominates, give her to Chris Cyborg. It's just, when you watch that Amanda Nunes fight, you realize that Amanda Nunes is the greatest to ever do it. I mean, it's not even close. And as much as we like to tease this idea of, no, she'll never be. I don't think she'll ever be dethroned now. And if I was Dana White, I would just keep feeding her just to stack that record. I mean, she's the greatest to ever do it. It was
Juliana
a flawless
Pena,
performance.
Shut your mouth, and Valentina Shevchenko, step up.
Valentina Shevchenko, because she might be the only one to me that might have a real possibility.
I know, but it sucks. Like, that's you don't do trilogy. I think it would be a trilogy. I could be mistaken, but you don't do trilogies if it's 2-0.
Yeah, that's true. Usually you don't get that.
And
run
Amanda
back.
Nunes is up 2-0.
It wouldn't be if Conor McGregor won both Nate Diaz's fights. You're still not going to run that fight back. I mean, that might be the only one that you do run back, just due to the antics and the actual exhilaration of the fight itself. But
yeah, the trajectory they've both been on, they kind of seem like they're headed towards each other. But if it's already 2-0, you just don't do it.
So we will see what is to be held with these, the women's division, as well as the heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight. Those are all especially interesting here on Be Good.